I first encountered Barbara when she was crossing, somewhat like a Valkyrie. She was striding through the corridors of the Royal College. She was very beautiful. Her profile was like the fine figurehead you'd find on a top sailing boat of those days, or of a century before. And you could instinctively feel how she must have been able to drive men before her and thereby win so many of the important negotiations that she did for APG. APG's pitch was to enter an institution and then, acting as a catalyst, change it. And then when the artist wanted to change it too violently, it fell to Barbara once again to negotiate the agreement as to what was to be allowed. The condition with APG, which made it unique and which made it difficult to deliver, was that the artist should operate on an open brief. He or she should find what stimulus they could in this untraditional context for art. And in the first instance, as I think is well known, APG concentrated on placing artists in industrial institutions, but they very quickly made it plain that they didn't like any change, however catalytic, if it interfered with the flow of profits. And indeed, the industries in general were rather stiff. So then Barbara had her most brilliant idea, and the idea for which really she should be memorialized, remembered, and commemorated as a leading figure of the last century. She wrote a letter to the Civil Service Department, one which no longer exists, of course, but which in those days managed the whole of the civil service. And she extracted from the Civil Service Department a protocol, a letter which could be presented by any artist to any government institution, any government department. So the whole of government was laid open in principle to the artist on the open brief. And that was where, with Roger Coward, Stuart Brisley, Ian Breakwell, Hugh Davis, and John Lathan himself, APG achieved its most meaningful placements in various ministries. And there was a time after we had been part of the opening of 1977 Castle document, where Boyce had arranged a kind of theatre for his free international university. And we presented from there in argument with Boyce and Hervé Fischer, inventor of l'art sociologique. And they were very Frankfurt-minded and didn't believe that artists could fail to be corrupted if they got it entangled with government institutions. But as the two most incorruptible people in Castle that day were Barbara and John, the result was that within a short period of time, Boyce had joined and was helping build the German Green Party, and thus driving art directly into politics. Now I think we have the duty to identify that Barbara was the first to hit a gap, to put paintings, put artists into these problematic contexts, to act as a kind of catalyst, to change, if there was anything that was to be changed, the behavior and thought process of the various institutions, state institutions. One could only wish that she was there now and able to take on the appalling behavior of the Home Office. But alas, she is not there to do that. When finally APG sold its archive to the Tate Gallery, at that particular meeting where it was celebrated, some very exciting people turned up, and that left me very hopeful for the future. And as for Barbara, I have exhibited her as someone who got things done, and she was, but she was also extremely lovable, and so was John. I adored them both, and I mourn them both now.